And welcome, guys, to Twisted Dice Weekly. This is our weekly show on Twitch where we talk about all things wargaming. We'll go through news, rumours, whatever's kind of hot in news in 40k. Generally in the community, we'll talk about it. And what we've started to do recently is bring on some special guests. So we have got a special guest today, which I will introduce in a minute. It is just myself hosting tonight. Darren is busy doing a battle report as we speak, so exciting stuff there. He is facing the Emperor's Children tonight, so that should be a good one for you to look forward to. And he is still all the way across the sea in Canada, so his dulcet Irish tones will be returning soon, but another couple of weeks without Sean. But I am very, very lucky this evening because I am joined by my good buddy and fellow ITC rep. I am joined by Ricci Lowe. Hello, Ricci.
Hello, John. How you doing, mate?
I'm not too bad, not too bad. Well, thanks very much for spending a bit of your precious time with us this evening. Really do appreciate it.
I am more than welcome, of course, mate. Anything.
That's good, it's good. And as you can probably hear from Ricci's dulcet tones, he is from the northern part of this country.
the untamed north, that's where it is.
Yeah, he is like literally by the wall, guys. He is by the wall. So yeah, there is many miles between me and Ricci this evening. So if the sound and the accents are completely poles apart, that is why. We'll try our best to make it so you can understand us.
Yeah, I'll bring me translator next time I'm on, John.
I think so. But yeah, but no, thank you very much for joining us. So if you are just stumbling upon this for the first time, we do put this up as a podcast. So if you're listening to this live, thank you for joining us. It goes up on a podcast later in the week, and you can get it on all of your different media platforms. So don't worry if you're kind of just stumbling across this. We also do another podcast that comes out about once a month, which is called Tip of the Spearhead, which is a lot more, let's say, adult content because it's a little bit more rough and ready. Me and Simon will chew something apart. And we talk about a specific army unit, like some focus, and we'll go into it in detail, so check that out. Our main thing is battle reports, so you can catch a battle report every single week on YouTube. Comes out on Friday. These are dice by dice, full glossy, beautiful armies, lovely kind of full banter battle reports, if you like. We do specialise in more competitive stuff than some of the other channels, so if you're into kind of competitive scene, you can see some of the hottest kind of armies on the scene. You can see them played out there. We're also very active on Instagram. You can see all our stuff come out there, and we also put a lot on Facebook. And if you really like what you see and you want to kind of support us further, we have a Patreon service. From just a $1 a month, you can join our Discord server, which is really active, where we're talking kind of tactics, army lists, you name it, we'll kind of talk about it. And on top of that, if you want to go up to the $6 stage, we will send you some of our amazing twisted dice. They're not rigged, honest, I promise. And if you want to go higher, then we also have other perks for you. But and some of the guys have been sending pictures of their dice as they've been rolling them, Ricci, and like literally we've had like sixes galore. So
sounds like my dice, mate.
Honestly, man, I'm telling you, they're rolling hot at the moment, which is great to see. But thanks to everybody that's jumped in. We've got quite a few people in the chat, so hello, guys. What we do at the end of the show is we always open it up to questions. We didn't last week. We had Scary on. He had to shoot off really quick, so apologies there. But hopefully we'll have a bit of time to answer your questions at the end. So what we always like to do with the show is kind of start off by kind of seeing what we're up to. So I'll start. If you haven't seen my Instagram posts, I've been manically busy trying to get the studio custodes up to date. I'm really happy with them. They are coming along pretty quick. I've probably knocked out this whole army in about 2 weeks, and it's almost table ready. That's
impressive, that, John. I thought it looked absolutely fantastic, mate.
Cheers, man. Yeah, I mean, thankfully it's a lot of airbrush work and a lot of gold, which is quite forgiving. But yeah, so I'm using the scale 75 paints. Now, have you seen those? Have you ever come across them?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
They do 3 golds. They do loads of golds, but there's 3. I use like a copper kind of base, and then I go to like a dwarven gold, which is like almost like the retributor gold, but a little bit deeper. And then they do an elven gold, which is like a real bright shiny gold.
Mm-hmm.
And when you kind of airbrush them in layers over each other, they give a real nice contrast. So they do a lot of the work for you. So I must admit, it's been a fairly easy process. But yeah, we're hoping to be able to show off some of the real filthy lists. That's the plan. Because everyone's running at the moment. Everyone's running them horrible tanks. So we thought we need to bring you those tanks. So
definitely. I mean, when we went Caledonian, that was like about 5 or 6 lists with 3 of them in, 2 of them in, 2 in the night. It was the new hotness, like, definitely.
Yeah. So I think that's gonna be fun. I'm actually been working on a list with those as well as like repulsors, and like literally just like you could just get like get a like a captain, lieutenant, and then a couple of repulsors, and then 3 Caladiuses.
Oh, so you're a bad man, Hickton.
It's all like -2 to charge on all of them.
Yeah.
Sitting out there. The Caladius deal with the big stuff. The repulsors deal with anything that's like chaff. All the rerolls. Sounds fun.
It sounds absolutely horrific.
Yeah. So maybe you'll see that soon. So that'd be quite horrendous. But the army's quite flushed out. So the nice thing is, I don't just want to do. We'll do lots of the Imperial soup stuff because I know that people want to see that filth. But we've also got loads of bodies. Like we can do just like foot slogging, we can do dread heavy, we can do bike heavy. So we'll do a bit of everything so you guys get an idea of kind of a bit more of the stuff that Custodes can do, because they're not a bad army, full stop, but mix them, they become real filth. So that's kind of my what you to, Ricky? You been up to much?
Yeah, well, I haven't been to many tournaments. I've just been doing a lot of practice games recently for the team event. So I've got 30 plague bearers on my desk, a bile piper. There's a demon prince over there behind us.
I can see him. He's busy watching.
Yeah, there's two contorted epitomes over there as well. So I'm just getting everything ready for that. Just tabletop standard. Done a little bit of work on the things that I enjoyed painting, which were the epitomes. Loved painting them. They were fantastic to paint. But everything else is just to get it out and done as quickly as possible, up to like a good from 3 feet away sort of standard.
Yeah, they're pretty cheeky, aren't they? Them new is it the epitome? Is that what you got?
Yeah, sorry, epitomes. I always call it an epitome for some strange reason, but yeah, contorted epitomes. So they're like the mirrors. So it takes 2 of them. You what? Sorry, mate.
I was gonna say that's what. Just go on, just use it as your accent. That's what you said. You said epitome, like just.
Right. I thought I mispronounced it, mate.
Nah, it's all good. It's all good. But yeah, they're decent unit. You having much joy with them? They working out well for you?
Yeah, they're absolutely fantastic. I played my friend yesterday on one of my teammates, and he played guard, and I had them right at the front. So I opted to take the Forbidden Gem on them, which is the relic, and it basically stops a character from working. So you had the assassin that shuts down psychers out at the front, because I've got the Supreme Command 1,000 Suns.
Yeah.
Used the Forbidden Gem on that during the psychic phase, and then got full range of cast on it, and then just smited it off the board. And that was like a lot of other moments where it like stops people from falling back. So like if somebody's looking to jump a character, like smash captain out of the way, you can just keep them there forever, really. Yeah. So and I mean it's pretty nifty in combat. It's 8 attacks, hits on 2s, strength 5, -2 damage, and it gets a +1 to cast and a +1 to deny. Cast and deny 2 apiece. So
it's nice.
It's a mini demon prince, but without fly. But
yeah, is the one that soaks up the mortal wounds as well? Does it soak up?
It does. So if you get a mortal wound on it, it gets a 2 up against mortal wounds.
Yeah, and how many points is it?
It's 195, so just over a flying demon prince, but it's got a lot more tools. Like definitely.
Nice. Yeah. It's super nice. Like that's definitely a bit of tech. I think you're seeing. I think demon lists are going to have them as default, aren't they? I think they are. Like yeah.
Well, the thing for my list, I run Plague Bearers and Bloodletters, and if you take them in an undivided attachment, you don't really lose a lot.
Yeah.
So you can put one of the mirrors in there, and gain the mirror, but not losing out on like that quote Legion traits. You know what I mean, like that low eye and stuff like that, because it doesn't really affect the game that much for me.
Yeah, and I suppose I've not seen 2 in that many lists. So you're going with 2 to give you the better coverage, are you?
Yeah, and I like the powers, the Slanesh powers. So I was like picking 2 per game, but then I found out that I kind of needed all 4 sort of thing. So there's 4 really good ones, and they're the ones that I was like in for. There's a good one actually. This is a one that not a lot of people look at, but there's a one that it casts on a 6, and you're getting a +1 to cast, and then you roll the dice for the amount of models in the unit. So if you've got boys that are mobbed up to like 60, you roll 60 dice, and any 6s are mortal wounds.
That's brutal.
It's madness,
Yeah, you got some filth there, and obviously the Plague Bearer is like super reliable. They give you the stability in that list, don't they?
Yeah, exactly. Well, they're for the first like 2 to 3 turns, they're the only target, really. So that's it.
Yeah.
-1 with a +4 invuln on one squad, and -2 on the other squad.
Yeah. Unless they're like stupid sniper heavy, you can pretty much give them first turn, can't you? Every time and go.
Yeah.
Do what you like. Yeah. Do it like, because what are you going to do first turn? You're just going to get yourself up to -2, aren't you? Basically, other than that, you're just kind of sitting there smiling at them. So it's great, you know.
This is it. I mean, it's more for the team list, because you can like stage your matchups and pick who you want to play. So I would like avoid the assassin list, like the plague, basically.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I'd use it in singles. It's good, but like you say, if I come across 3 snipers or somebody, even with scout snipers, you could probably take out me caster, and then you start taking out Araman because he's only on foot, and the wheels start to come off at that point. Like,
yeah, definitely. It's a defensive list as well, isn't it? It's a grinder. It's like one you stick up against sort of anything that's flashy, and you can take points off them. So it's super solid. I think it's still like, you know, it's still a good 4-1 list, pretty much, you know, isn't it? It's like
definitely. I would chance it, but I think there's a couple of bad matchups for me. Yeah.
No, that makes sense. Cool. And as far as so hobby wise, you've just been kind of getting those up to a standard. They're like, you know, ready to go then, yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, I keep on looking over at them there. That's why I'm doing that on the Twitch stream. Just because you said like up to a standard, and I'm just like, are they actually up to a standard?
Yeah, I do the same. I do exactly the same. Like, I'm always like, normally when I've got the disadvantage of this evening is normally I've got Darren doing all the work, keeping an eye on the stream, and I'm normally like painting away. This is like a great couple of hours I get to paint. So, but thankfully for this weekend I haven't. So I'm taking Tyranids. So I didn't kind of talk about it. So I'm going to the Greetings event, and I'll be taking Tyranids because I'm trying to go for best in faction this year. Stupidly, because it's really tricky. It's not so difficult if you go Forces of the Hive Mind, because if you put in Gene Stealer Cult, then actually Tyranids are good, because you can put like Swarm Lord with a unit or a couple of units of Gene Stealers, and then they really complement a good Gene Stealer Cult army.
Yeah, well, if you've got more options at that point, you can actually stick in some firepower with the guard, and there's loads of options. But pure Tyranids is a hard road for you, mate. Definitely.
It's super tough. So my only little bit of tech. So I've been having a lot of fun with the Tervigan. Like the Tervigan, she's just doing the business for me at the moment. She's such a troll. Like she's just a troll unit. I make her I make her -1, so I give her chameleonic skin. So she's toughness 8. She's got 14 wounds, 3 up save. I give her chameleonic skin to give her a -1 to hit. I then sit her next to the Malonthroat for a -2 to hit. And then I give it a Warlord trait that once she takes damage, she then becomes a Wave Serpent, so she takes damage down by 1. And you just sit there and you just stick your fingers up at the player you're playing against. You just go on, kill her. And at Cali, what's his name? I can't remember his name now. I had Lee. So Lee Durkin, I played in the second game. I played his Eldar. I've told this story before, but I played his. It was basically Alex Harrison's LVO runners-up list, like the
right, yeah.
And second turn, he directed all like 6 flyers or whatever at the Tervagon, and I think she took about 2 wounds.
Mm-hmm.
I was like,
That's what a nightmare. Just be like, what is happening to me right now?
And that's called bad target priority. But yeah, so she's a bit of trouble. And then I'm just going to try out this weekend the Spore Mine. So I'm going to try a bit of reinforcement points because you've got the Spore Mine stratagem that lets you put 2 units of Spore Mines in. So you can take up to a unit of 9 of them. You start them 9 inches away from your opponent. Then you can do, because they're in Kraken, you can then do the opportunist advance. So you can run them and then double that run. Because and then if you want, you can then use the other stratagem that makes them move again, but they can't then charge. But you don't charge Spore Mines, because Spore Mines just detonate within 3 inches of your opponent.
Yeah, so you basically just have to make it into 3, and then you're sorted from then on.
That's it. So it's kind of like, it's a bit of a. So if I come against the wrong army, I just don't bring it in because it's reinforcement points. If I come against the right army, then I can try and alpha them with that, because that's still like I've got 120 points worth of them. So I've got a unit of 9 and a unit of 3. If the stars align, I can use one stratagem on one and get them within range, and then use the other stratagem with the other, get them in range, get them all. So you can get like all 12 Spore Mines in range. Yeah. And then that's on a 1 they do nothing. On anything else they do a mortal wound, and on a 6 they do D3.
Oh, that's not bad.
Well, if they've not got a lot of screen, you're probably taking about 6 or 7 wounds off something, which is not terrible.
Yeah.
And if they've got a screen, that's still a big old chunk of the screen. Or if you're playing a knight army, or you're playing something that wants to come at you, you can put a line of them across the board, and then just go kill my Spore Mines.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's it. It's a good option, mate. I mean, it's always nice to have that just in the background. Reinforcements seem to be playing like a more prominent part in this these days, and I think that's nice. It's nice to have in the pocket just in case, Yeah. If you're looking at stuff like AdMech, people generally take like min squads of Rangers. Yeah. So I mean, you're taking out a squad of them. There's your first strike, and you've depleted at least one area of that screen as well. So not bad. Yeah.
Also, it gives me the option to do is I can bring back 3 I can add 3 units of Termagants from the Tervagon, because she's got the choice. Either she can replen units of Termagants. So I've got 2 big blocks of Termagants, so as they die, she can add 10 to them back, for free. But what she can also do is you can choose to then add a new unit of 10. So I've got an option there. I can have 3 new units of 10, or I can use the other stratagem, which is I'm thinking it's not Endless Green Tide, because obviously that's the Orc one. But basically, it's the same thing, more or less, but you need the reinforcement points, unfortunately. Yeah. What it is any destroyed unit you can bring back, and you bring it back basically outflanking. And the great thing with that is it means that you can do it at any turn of the game. So if you come across something that it's going to be like you need that late game pressure, I can basically bring on a unit of 30 gaunts along the back board edge in the last turn, and go, well, there's my line breaker, or you've got to kill 30 gaunts.
Exactly, yeah.
Or they jump on an objective, whatever it is. So I suppose they're like the 3 different options that 120 points gets me. So it's kind of, so I've got that, I've got the Tervagon, I've got 60 gaunts in the list, I've got Old One Eye because he's Tyrannid's best answer to knights.
Yeah, 100%.
He's a smash captain, basically. He is a Tyrannid. He's a Tyrannid smash captain. That's what he does. Yeah. And then I've got 3 Flyrants. I've got 2 with monstrous rending claws to try, and they're my, if you put a flyer near them, they're going to wreck a flyer. They're not going to do much else, but they're still 12 shots. And then the rending claws, they can be a bit of a nuisance, hard to kill. And then I've got one. Yeah, and then I've got one that's a 24 shot. So one of them that's a full Dakar. So It's quite a lot of strength 6 shooting in there. And then I've got the Malanthrope, and I've got a small unit of Hive Guard as well, because they're solid to sit in there.
Yeah, so, what weapons do you take on the Hive Guard?
So I always take the Impalers. The shot cannons, for me, it's just the range is the thing that kills me. You know, and in ITC, and this is a pure ITC missions, it's nice to just stick them behind that ruin, behind that terrain, and then just all day long, just putting in work. Yeah,
definitely. So I think that's a very important thing. ITC, out of line of sight shooting. Yeah, I think it plays a very big part, because you generally find that tables are very dense, like for the way people play, and the same at my tournaments, it's very dense. And I think if I played in my tournament, knew the table layout and stuff like that, I would probably be taking some out of line of sight shooting, like just for pure value of it, you know.
Yeah, definitely. I think they're well worth it. So that's kind of what I'm saying. It's only 1750 as well. I don't really like 1750, to be honest. You know, everyone that knows me knows I'm quite anti 1750, because for me, it doesn't really make the game any quicker. It's slight fractionally, but to me, like, if you're a player that's, you know, that knows what they're doing, you'll eke the effectiveness out of your list at 1750 easy enough.
Yes, I totally agree, because I'm a 2K man. I call that full fat 40K. Yeah. So if you're going like 1750, like you say, you can weed out a few things that aren't super important and still have like the bulkier list. And a lot of people are saying they're doing it because of like time constraints. But in my whole experience of playing, if you know your army, you know what you're doing, and you're in a tournament setting, I've never seen many people run out of time. Like, you know what I mean? To the point where it's we're going to have to drop the points to fix this problem, sort of thing. You know, it's few and far between for me.
No, I agree. I mean, for me, like, if points is the way you're doing it, you need to be more radical. You need to be looking at like 1200 or 1500 maximum. Yes. You know, I don't like that, because it completely changes the way that you play, because you do have to look at your lists very differently. But if you're determined that you're going to go down that route, and you're like anti-chest block or anti this or anti that, which is fine. You know, everybody's kind of, you know, I mean, we'll talk about it later, but, you know, both myself and Ricky we want to support particularly the UK scene growing in any way it wants to. So if people want to run tournaments that are different points, different time lengths, you know, whatever they want to do, then that's great, because it can only be good for the tournament scene. Indeed. But for me, like, you know, I just think that points wise, 1750, you're not really helping kind of anything. You kind of almost fooling yourself, but, you know, that's just my opinion. So you know, it is what it is, and, you know, I'll still have a cracking time. I can't wait, and it just adds a different layer of complexity with that kind of army building. So it's all good. So news-wise, as far as kind of community and what's kind of going on, it's quite quiet at the moment, to be fair. I think the meta's sort of settled in a little bit after the FAQ. There's not been any dramatic changes. So I think there's two things that are worth talking about. Is Apocalypse. Have you kind of had a chance to have a look at any of that, Ricky?
Yeah, I've scanned it over. I mean, I've heard of guys playing the old edition of it, and they've still got like Epic. The version of it. But like, obviously, I've seen Apocalypse games before, but it's nice to have an actual rule set, because I've played in about 3 or 4, and it's basically one turn for everybody, and then it's time to pack up and go home and go to bed.
Yeah. It's that car park, isn't it? Set up the car park and then pack it all away again. Yeah.
Exactly. It's good for the pictures and stuff like that, but the gameplay is lacking very much so.
I think that's it, isn't it? Like, put your toys out, take a load of photos, and then
put them away.
Yeah. I mean, I have never, ever played an Apocalypse game, ever. And I have quite a lot of big stuff, but I just, like, I don't know. I think it's the time you would need, like, almost like a weekend if you're going to do it properly. And, I suppose, and you need a lot of space. And then, I don't know. And it's never really kind of massively floated my boat. But I definitely, by the sounds of things, they are trying to streamline it so you can play it in an afternoon. And that's quite exciting, I would say.
Oh, definitely. I mean, hopefully it'll make it a bit more fun because I struggle to get any value out of it when I'm playing it because, like I say, there's you put so much on the board and then you get through like half of it and then it's like somebody else's turn and it's just like a shooting gallery for the first of it because I mean, how much terrain do you want to put on the board for make it awkward for people to move? You know, so I hope they can streamline it, and I'll probably give it a couple of games, like because it's more fun for everybody. Then you're not like everybody understands that you can bring whatever you want and it doesn't really matter. But if you're playing like a 2K game, I'll bring me tournament list, and somebody brings like a nice fluffy one we haven't really talked about beforehand. It's just like, oh, I'm sorry about this, mate. I'm really sorry, but
yeah,
this is going to happen.
Yeah, it's not going to go well. They're not going to enjoy that much. But,
yeah, that's it.
Yeah. But I mean, so I've had a brief little sneaky peek of some of the proposed prices of the big boxes as well, and it looks like potentially they're like, if you're not even taking it from a apocalypse point of view, it looks like there might be some decent savings in those big boxes as well.
Yeah, it looked like good value to me. Was it a 120 for a box set?
That's it. It looks like about all of them. I think are 120, and I think it looks like you're saving a fair bit on that.
Definitely the one that came up in a couple of the chats that I've got a million groups on WhatsApp, and one of them that came up there was they said if you go for a night, you're basically getting your armigers for free.
Exactly.
So that's absolutely grand, like.
Yeah.
Funny thing. The reason that it did came up was because one of me head judge from the Northeast Open, he just bought a night and 2 armigers, and he was just like, oh god.
Yeah. Isn't that always the way though?
100%. It's the same with me painting these plague bearers, and then a week after contrast paints come out, just didn't have time to wait for them.
Yeah, and that's a great segue actually. So, and then the other thing that's huge at the moment is obviously contrast paints, and I've been taking the mick online because Christ Almighty, every other post is contrast.
No.
I'm like, I can't deal with this anymore. I know what contrast paint is. But I suppose Darren, who's not here tonight, he's had them now for a couple of weeks. He got it early, and he is just, I've not played with them yet, but he is raving about how good they are. He's just saying that they're amazing. I mean, he's done a couple of tutorials that are like on one of our sister channels, which is Twisted Elite. He's done an Orc tutorial on fast painting Orc and one on painting Gene Occult Acolytes. Yeah, and pretty impressive to be fair.
How long did it actually take him to paint the Orc for like one model blasting through, or was he like
15 minutes?
15 minutes.
But that's to do everything. Because you do it in stages, wouldn't you? So you would do so that's 15 minutes to do the skin, all the fabric, and all that. But actually, it probably wouldn't take much more to do 10 orcs. You'd probably still do that in about 15 minutes because you're basically slabbering it on, then doing the next bit, doing the next bit.
Assembly line all the way down. So if you've got 30, you're hitting the same spots, and you can just go right, green, next line, green, next line, green, then brown, next line, brown. Just keep on working down. That's You probably could knock out 30 in probably half an hour, 45 minutes there.
Yeah.
That's pretty decent, that game changer, really.
And the quality's decent as well, so they look good. They definitely look like a good solid tabletop standard, and you'd be happy with looking at them at a tournament. And that's for me. I mean, I didn't like the green personally, just personal preference. I prefer my orcs to have more of an olive kind of skin. The colour that and there's loads in the range, so there's probably more colours to choose from, but the colour that Darren did is quite a green, quite a vibrant green, which is cool. I've seen that a lot.
Got a bit of a darker tinge to it than the actual a plague, not like a plague bearer, but more like a dark angels, closer to dark angels.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I prefer using the kind of the Ogwyn camo, kind of like that kind of. Yeah.
I'm the same. Me plague bearer. I took a tip from my friend Sam Goodwin.
Yeah,
and he's a fantastic painter, and he always says if if you can, even if it's meant to be like a dark model, he says use quite bright colours. He says because it catches the eye, and like when people are walking past, they'll see like a full dark camo army and not stop and go like, oh, that's nice. But if you've got like a super bright army, it doesn't really matter how it's painted. People will just be like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah, and that's exactly it. That's exactly it. And I think with flesh as well, like because the human eye like actually wants the things to look human, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So like the lighter it is, generally, the more, even though it's a different colour and it looks vastly different, the more you kind of relate those flesh tones to kind of human tones. So the more it feels like more forgiving and more, nicer on the eye. If something's like ridiculously like dark and looks unnatural, then I think sometimes that doesn't work for it as much. So I think some of those kind of more neutrally pastel-y tones they kind of complement, but I think it's like painting's very much like it's in the eye of the beholder, isn't it? But
100%, yeah. But like I say, it's something that does come up for me, and I prefer a lighter tone. I do like a lighter tone on the orcs as well. Yeah, definitely. But
I think they are. I suppose both of us being like TOs, I think it's refreshing to be in a place where it feels like it's going to be easier for people to be able to get armies on the table.
Oh, definitely. That was one of me very good friends for the Northeast Open. He had to drop out because he was up until 4 or 5 in the morning painting.
Yeah.
And then he said, like, I went to bed, and he says I was super anxious about it, and he said I didn't sleep. He says, so I can't come and play again. I need to sleep.
Yeah.
So it's a shame for people, because that happens to a lot of people, even me today.
Yeah.
Anxiety beforehand, you're thinking, oh, well, I need to get all these finished. This isn't really to the standard I would like. They haven't put black rims around the bases. This needs a wash, and like paint the night before is a nightmare. But with contrast paints, I think there's a good chance that people will be able to do 1 week. There's a full army. It's not perfect, but it's to a decent standard. 3 foot away, it looks fantastic. So happy with it.
Yeah, no, definitely. So it's a good thing. It's a good thing. So cool. Okay, well look, that's kind of thing. It's a bit of a quiet news week this week, but hopefully we'll see a bit more kind of going forward, and we'll see things. I think Space Marines are not far off. I think they've got to be coming soon, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what the gut feels. But so we wanted to kind of talk a bit about a couple of things with yourself tonight, Ricky. So I wanted to kind of start off with just kind of a bit more getting to know you. What your story is, I suppose. Today, before we kind of go a little bit more into depth and talk about your events and talk a little bit about the ITC. So what kind of what's your hobby journey? How did you get into the game?
Well, I've got the age-old story where I used to play. Where I didn't used to play. I used to collect when I was a kid. Loved the models, loved slashing loads of really thick paint on them and thinking they were brilliant,
Yeah.
And then obviously fell out of it when you start liking beer and girls like everybody else.
Yeah.
And then I started to get to a point where I had disposable income like 2 years ago, and it's been like the first time ever. So I was just like, I wonder what it's like now. I wonder if there's still some like cool models and some good things happening and stuff like that. So I ended up finding a local group. And like watching a couple of bat reps, getting to know how to play and stuff, and I was like invested by this point. I was like definitely want to like start playing and have a game and see what it's really like. And then I found a group, and the guy who runs it, now a very good friend of mine, he lent us me first army, like the first list.
Yeah.
So and I was just, and I like taught us how to play and showed us a few things, and I was just hooked from then on. Like,
yeah, it gets you, doesn't it? It gets you. Once it gets you, you just say. So you came in back at 8th then, right?
I came in the end of 7th edition.
Oh, so you did see a bit of the horrible days of 7th then.
Yeah, the daft thing was that I was, because I've got some strange thing that I remember a lot of rules. So like I know most of the armies in the 8th edition now. So if somebody says something, I'm like, well, that's not right. And then check the codex, and I'm generally right. So in 7th edition, I could manage to remember all the rules, so it's quite good. And then just as I was getting comfortable, it was like, oh, 8th edition's coming out. I was like, oh, Christ, man.
Well, yeah. So you got a little bit of taste of 7th, but mainly, kind of 8th's been your big thing, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. That's when I've started tournaments and stuff like that. So I've always played Chaos, and I used to play Chaos in 7th edition, and it was a really hard time.
Yeah.
And now play 7th and 8th edition, it's an absolutely fantastic time. So I think I'm a little bit vindicated after having so many beatings in 7th edition, you know.
Yeah, Chaos have come good recently, haven't they? They really have come good, like literally in the last, I don't know, probably not even 6 months, but in the last kind of 3 to 4 months, they seem to have come real good now.
Yeah, the options are there now. I mean, having the demons is always good. Yeah. I think Barebone Chaos Space Marines are going to have a hard job. Yeah. Even with the Vigilus stuff, even with Lord Discordance, if you're going pure Space Marines, I think you'll struggle. But if you start mixing it up, get a bit of Forge World in there, Thousand Suns, even some Death Guard if you're feeling particularly crazy. Yeah. I think there's so many things you can do and like little tricks, and it works very well for me. Like synergies are there, you know.
Do you reckon they're better than Imperium at the moment?
Oh, that's
a tough question.
It is. Just because I'm a fan, I'm going to say yes. But I generally get smashed off Imperium on the reg, so
it's tough. Like, you know, but the nice thing is there's not like it's a question now, isn't it? Like, I think you know, a year ago that wasn't a question. That was like, you know, Imperium just so much better, and like, you know, it's Imperium or Eldar. Yeah, there isn't really anything else to talk about. And now I think Chaos is very much now competing. And I would suggest after Ynnari, I think it's probably overtaken Eldari as a whole.
Well, they've lost a lot of punch from like recent FAQs and from changes to Ynnari. So I think it's been a bit of a hard road for them. They're still absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
But I feel more comfortable if somebody puts down like a flyer spam list, an Eldar list. I look across the table and think, probably got a good shout here. Like, but there's times when before Ynnari changed, I looked across the table and said I might as well just concede.
Yeah. Well, it's the Doom bit as well, isn't it? You know, that's the big thing as well, because it's, you know, that combination. Because Jakari I reckon that Jakari are now stronger than Eldar. I think they're a stronger codex throughout.
I agree. I think personally might be slightly controversial, but for me, Dark Eldar are probably the best mono codex out there.
Yeah, I think you're right. To be fair, I just think they've got everything, haven't they? They've got everything you need to be competitive. You know, people were arguing that, you know, Astra Militarum are coming back into it, but for me, they're still quite mono build.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, you're still getting your problems from the minuses to hit as well. Yeah. Like you haven't got like a dedicated combat unit like Dark Eldar. You haven't got the speed there. I think they've just got, like you say, a lot more options. Yeah. And for me with Dark Eldar, if something isn't working, you've got something that you can swap it for. If something's not working in your guard list, it's like, well, you've just got to enjoy it, mate, or bring in something from the other Imperium, which doesn't make it mono anymore.
No, exactly. I think there's a few people that are rocking it and are doing well, and it is strong. But I think the Jakari still, like Jakari, you really don't need to worry. You can quite comfortably play it on its own. It has something to deal with more or less everything. So yeah, I think 100%. I definitely agree with that. It's cool. So tournament scene. So you kind of you got into the game, so obviously you come back into it. What kind of got you hooked on the tournament scene then? Because you're obviously interested in that, as we'll kind of go on. But. Yeah,
it's this is a pretty good story, and I tell people and they're just like, really? So I went, my first ever 2-day tournament was London Grand Tournament last year.
Yeah,
with the terrain debacle.
Yeah, I was there.
And and I was like, I met loads of amazing people. Had like every interaction that I had was absolutely fantastic, and I was staying in the same hotel as James O'Brien.
Yep.
He was a head judge there, so I was staying in the same hotel as him, and I like talked to him in the bar, and like consoled him a little bit because he'd read the comments on the internet and he was just like head and hands. So like I said to him, my guys, look mate, this is my first tournament and I've had like an absolutely fantastic time. So we ended up like drinking till like 3 a.m. or something. Awesome. And I had such a good time there. Terrain didn't even come into it for me. I know the food was a nightmare. There was a lot of things that were a nightmare.
Yeah.
But I still had the best time, and I came away from that and I was like, I've got to do that. Like I've got to do something like that. So then I just started planning like my stuff, you know.
Yeah. No.
That's what got us into competitive play and talking to people about all their lists and things, because I was like, people were telling us so many like weird tricks, and I was just like, this is great. It's like super interesting, you know. Yeah,
no, I totally like it. Was so anybody that, I mean, it got massively blown out of proportion because people like do that. Yeah, I mean, like the train, there was actually nothing wrong with the train. It just looked crap. Like that's ultimately it. And you know, I know Zach pretty well. You know, he's a good lad, and he was disappointed. And I know James really well, actually. You know, James has been to a few of my tournaments, and you know, I'd spent a bit of time with him again this year just gone. He's out. He lives in Washington now. And yeah, he was at the LVO, and I'd like to definitely go and see him, and actually, you know, play in Nova, because obviously that's his kind of local now.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, keep meaning to do Nova, but yeah, but the tournament itself, like, you know, like big tournaments are fun, right?
Oh, definitely, mate. I mean, this is the thing. I wasn't putting any bad words against the LGT, because after you know yourself, you run events, and something like that happens, and the people on the internet say the man didn't care, and it's like, he definitely did. He was definitely devastated about that. Like, you know, so yeah, and I like I say, I thoroughly enjoyed it, and it was the vocal minority, and some of the people that I saw posting weren't even there. No,
no, exactly. You know, and look, it's not gonna. They know what they got wrong, and we've chewed this to death, so we're not going to go down. Of course,
I apologise for making it like a
no, not at all. But for me, it's more a case of, you know, I mean, I'm going to the next one, and I can't wait. You know, I know it's going to be amazing, because like, you know, Zach is going to blow everyone away with it, and the fact is, he's still going to have huge numbers. Still going to be probably the biggest event, second biggest event in the world after Vegas. So, you know, look, and we want that. You know, we want it in the UK, and you know, if someone's brave enough to kind of push that, then I'm all in favour. I'm definitely waving that flag. So,
oh, me too, mate. I'm fully supporting it, 100%.
Yeah, 100%, which is all good. So we talked about favourite army. So your favourite army is very much Chaos. Do you have any other armies at all?
Funnily enough, I don't.
Nice.
So
that's rare.
Really?
Yeah.
That's just because I was so when I got into set, I started with the Death Guard in 7th edition, because I wanted to start with Thousand Suns, but obviously you only had Aramin and Rubric Marines. Yeah. And I talked to me, like I say, Michael, who runs the local club, and he said you can't really do that. I was like, why not? And he says, because you haven't got any units. He goes, it'll just be like one guy in a couple of troops. I was like, right. And I said, so if I wanted to play Chaos, what do you think would like keep us sort of competing? Like, I wouldn't just be coming every week and getting just wiped off the table. And he said, well, Death Guard aren't too bad. So I started my first army, which is Death Guard.
Nice.
And then played them at the start of 8th. I took them to LGT and went, I think I went 3-2. Yeah, nice. I went 3-2. So that was impressive. Like, I was like, how did this happen? I was like hoping to just win one. You know, I would have been happy with one, but I did pretty good. And then when Thousand Suns Codex dropped, I started them in earnest. So I've got a full Thousand Suns army. I've got obviously the demons there. They're sort of new. Yeah. And I've got pretty much about 5k world eaters. So
nice.
Yeah. So sometimes local stuff, local tournaments, I like mix them up a bit and try out new things. But for big ones and 2 days, I go with like the demons mostly. Like,
yeah. Well, I mean, that's the thing. Like, I mean, I say, have you got, you know, any other armies? But to be fair, like, Chaos is like lots of armies within that. So it's kind of, it's not really just one army, is it? I mean, the great thing is you can mix and match it. But, you know, talking about a Thousand Suns army, a Death Guard army, and a Demon army, it's kind of 3 armies really there.
Exactly. Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of the beauty behind it, isn't it? So
I mean, the thing is, I've tried to start a new army. I've got like about 1,500's worth of ad mech somewhere.
Yeah.
Unpainted, still on sprue. And the problem is that they keep on releasing chaos stuff, so I end up having to buy that, and then that's sitting on my desk instead. So I haven't really had a chance, you know.
Yeah.
Like they brought out the Black Legion stuff, new obliterators, and I just keep on buying them.
Yeah, well, we're big fans of chaos on the channel. I think, you know, generally that's more I think we're more heretics than loyalists. I think that's kind of our thing. So yeah, it's what it's all about. So I like to throw this one because I have quite strong opinions on it, and I always like to kind of stir up some vigorous conversation.
Start a massive argument on your podcast.
That's what I always like to do. So ETC or ITC missions. So not a format. We know that the ITC is something that's amazing, that is great for everything. That's kind of just the kind of the world we're in. That's the pro circuit, if you like. That's a way that everything can be brought together. And I'll caveat with, I'm sure you're the same as me, rolling dice is fun. It doesn't really matter what you play if you're rolling dice. But if I had to squeeze you one way, which way and kind of why, I suppose?
All right, well, I think every, as you said, it's rolling dice, so I think every type of mission, even including Eternal War and Maelstrom, are all very valid, but they're all valid for like different reasons. So I find ITC for the highest level of competitive play, I think that's probably the best, because I think the missions are set out, they're fair. You pick your poison, you pick what you want to do, no pun intended. And you know, you can pick your secondaries, but ETC, it's got a bit more randomness in with the cards, and I find that a little bit more fun because it's more of a random game. It's like playing on the weekend with your friends, sort of thing, where you're not really bothered about the result, because it's hard to like draw 3 cards, know that you haven't got anything, and say, well, what can I actually do now? But I think in ITC you've always got the options, so it's a fair playing field, and I think it's the best for competitive play, definitely. Yeah, but like I said, they're all valid before the ETC team kicks us out their groups and stuff like that.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, that's it. I mean, you know, I'm in the kind of the English ETC kind of group, like, because I have ambitions of one day having the time to take that,
to do that.
And that's to be honest, that's the big thing for me. It's like, one, like for people that are listening that are overseas or don't really know the scene, I think that it's a little bit more northern based, is actually a lot of the ETC English kind of crowd, if you like, because a lot of it plays out of Element Games, which is an amazing place to play, but a lot of it, a lot of their events and stuff that they kind of use is that, which is like 4 hours journey away from me. And you know, a lot of it means that you need to travel and you need to commit, because the great thing about being in the UK is we have one of the strongest set of players in the world. I very much hope that we will absolutely smash the Americans this coming year.
I think we've got a very good chance this year, definitely.
The team looks amazing. Like, it looks super strong. I'm chuffed that they brought in Mike, because I'm a big fan. He's a good lad and he's worked hard, so it's great to see that kind of introduction into the team. But they're super strong, and I think they're definitely, I think they're going out to big time see if they can try and take that. So you know, and I'm well 100% behind them. But you know, it's quite hard to get into that unless you're really prepared to put in the hours and go to the recognised ETC tournaments.
Yes. You've got to go to practice events, and it's a big commitment when you're already committed to so many other things. That's the problem.
Yeah. So, but it's definitely on the bucket list, 100%.
Same for me, mate.
No, it'd be super cool, and you know, it's great. So, but yeah, I've kind of lost my train of thought, to be honest.
We're talking about the varying mission types.
I suppose. You were saying I don't want to offend anybody. So yeah, I mean, but I've always, you know, for me, I was one of the pioneers for ITC missions in the UK, because I've always loved playing them, just from that fact of I've had too many poor hands.
Yeah, well, that's why I mentioned it. I think it's the fairest way to play for competitive play, definitely.
Yeah.
That's why I brought it in for the next one.
Yeah.
I wanted to test the water with the first one, but like I just thought like it's probably the most robust mission set for me. Like definitely.
Yeah, definitely. But it's interesting though, because we had Scary on last week, and obviously, so Scary's Canadian vice captain of the ETC team, and one of the highest performing Dark Eldar players over there. Well, he's in Canada, but basically in the US Canada kind of tournament scene, and.
Is he top of the Dark Eldar mono faction at the minute?
I think so. Either he's there or thereabouts. But he won another GT I think last weekend. But
nice.
But I thought it was really interesting because the ETC is the ETC format is like unheard of in the US.
Yeah.
Like they just don't play it. Like they look at us like we're from another planet. Playing, why are you playing cards? Like I think most American players, I think their packs must still be sealed because they don't play card missions. So it's really interesting that actually when I quizzed Scary about it last week, he is an advocate of the ETC missions. He prefers ETC missions, and particularly with the removal of 6 cards and actually making that randomness reduce.
Yeah. It does help in a big way. That definitely.
And I think where his mindset is, it's a case of actually you need to be able to be much more reactive, and it challenges your decision making each turn as a top player. Whereas if you're a good player, when you're playing ITC, exactly as we've just said, is you can pretty much manage yourself from the start. Almost a case of these are the decisions that I need to make across the game. Dice are going to do what dice do, but as long as I stick to this kind of game plan and I'm good at it, then I'll come out doing very well.
It makes it quite. I want to say binary, but not not as like an insult. You know what I mean? More as like like every game, you know where you're going to go from there. But with your cards, it could be, oh well, I need to score that objective in the far corner. So I think it's a bit more. That's why I said I find it more fun.
Yeah.
Because there's like always something different happening.
Yeah.
But in the same vein, I'm not sure it's right for like the highest of competitive play for like a comp. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's just really interesting. I think it's very, and I think the nice thing is, I think actually we're in a real great place at the moment because the ITC missions have definitely become more of an accepted part of the tournament scene over in the UK. But we're still playing ETC missions, probably primary as our main source of tournaments. So we get a bit of a balance of both, which I think
that's a. Sorry to cut you off, John.
No, go for it.
I was going to say I think that's a good thing, like because I enjoy both formats definitely. And I would hate to see either of them go away because I think the more that you've got, the more variation, and the more people start playing and come to tournaments. And I think you see it's a nice leg up because if you're new and you've never, say somebody who's never heard of the ITC before, they'll have heard of Maelstrom cards and they've played Eternal Wars. So it's just like, well, you're playing that mission mixed with that one. There's a few bits and pieces changed, but just you pretty much know it already, you know. So.
Yeah.
It was like I say, LGT. It was a big help for me because I'd never seen ETC missions before. Yeah. So when I went into there, I was like, oh, what am I going to do? But then as soon as I was at the table, I was just like, oh, it's just this and this crossed. So it was fine, you know.
Yeah, definitely. So I think I might have got an idea of where we're going with this. But favourite singles event you've ever played in?
London GT.
Fine. I kind of we edit down as we try to get some show notes as far as when we get the guests on, we try and give them questions, but it's funny how many times things naturally kind of go where you want to anyway.
Sorry, I jumped the gun on that story. I was going to save it for this section.
No, it's good. It's where the show goes, nobody knows. That's what it's all about. And I suppose before I want to obviously focus and talk a little bit about your event. Before we go on to that, Joe, I've just kind of got my last question, which is a bit of kind of thought-provoking one. Can you think of like your hardest game you've ever played? Obviously now you're a competitive player. What's the most challenging game you've ever kind of rocked up against?
You see, this is it. I think that's actually quite a difficult question, that, John. You've got us thinking.
No,
I did. I know you sent us the notes, but I couldn't. I was drawing a blank at work, so I was like, I'll be able to think of something on the spot.
What about your army then? What army do you generally find is your bit of your Achilles heel? Then take it from a different sort of spin.
At the minute, it's God, and actually, I've got a. I used to play. We're playing a championship.
Mm-hmm.
This place called Battle Bunker in Sunderland, and he does like, a tournament RTT every month.
Yeah.
He's not submitting to BCP, which is really unfortunate, but I'm trying to twist his arm. And then there's like a final at the end, and I played a guy there to win the whole thing. Not the whole championship, but to get like to the championship, so win the day sort of thing.
Yeah.
And he was called Barry Whitelaw, and he was playing Chaos as well.
Mm-hmm.
And that was probably the hardest game I've ever played, because we both knew there was no like trickiness, there was no like, right, I'm going to play this stratagem. You weren't expecting that. We were literally expecting everything that came up.
Yeah.
So, and that came down to one dice roll for me to win by 1 point. And I put in a Demon Prince Zinch into his Chaos Sorcerer to win the whole thing. So 7 attacks, hitting on 2s, re-rolling 1s. Sorcerer, no invuln save. He made hit with 7, wounded with 6, and he made 6 5-up saves to win that game. And it was such like a stressful game, and we were both like pretty sweaty by that point because it was like third round on a one day. Yeah. So I think I just dropped to my knees and I was just like, oh God. So I was like, Barry, the way you played, you definitely deserved that, but I feel like I deserved it too.
Yeah, that's a killer, isn't it? When you get a game that's that close, you kind of almost like, you feel like you both deserve the win, don't you?
Yeah, definitely. But back on the bad matchup, probably the hardest game more recently was yesterday. I played one of my teammates, T3 Tom. Yeah. And he plays God with Smash Captains, Mephisto, and all the assassins.
Yeah.
And that was an absolute nightmare. So we got that down to a draw. But since he's not here to defend himself, I was definitely going to win if we went on for one more turn. Like,
I'll always go with that, Ricky. Always. That's you always got to pick that.
we called it early because he had to go home, so it was definitely mine. 100%.
Definitely. Well, if you're listening to this back, we've gone around the houses a little bit, but as you can probably tell, Ricky's a TO, and he have an event coming up. Can you tell us a little bit about your event?
Yeah, sure thing. So it's the SummerSlam GT. It's on August 3rd and 4th. So it's week before the ETC finals, which is a real shame, but it's the only date I could actually book it. So it's an 80-person event. It's ITC scoring. It should be classed as a major. Hopefully we can sell tickets. You get your lunch both days, terrain fully painted, and set terrain maps. And it's a £50 a ticket out in Newcastle upon Tyne.
Decent. So yeah, and I've seen a picture of your trophy, or should I say your belt?
Yeah, I always forget to mention this. We've actually got a title belt engraved. Well, it's not quite engraved, but it's got our logo all over it. So you'll be holding up a wrestling belt if you come in for the win.
It is amazing. Like literally, that is the one you want to win. Like, don't worry about these trophies in glass. You know, got a proper wrestling belt. It's just amazing. So that, to me, that's worth going up and trying to win it alone. You know,
that was when I went to Cali judging. That was literally what everybody said. They were like, "I'm dying to come to get that belt, mate." They said it must be mine.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So it's a two-day event, 5 games.
Yes, 5 games.
5 games, and at 2,000 points, as we said.
Yeah, 2K. So the thing is, I'm interested in pushing tournaments out to like 6 and 7 days.
Yeah.
But I find the big problem. Sorry, 6 or 7 rounds.
Yeah,
but
yeah. 6 and 7 days would be cool as well, but
yeah, definitely. But 6 or 7 rounds. But the problem is, since Newcastle hasn't had any big tournaments, I mean, our closest one would probably be Sheffield, maybe GT in Leeds, some in Scotland. So we haven't really gotten to GT level yet.
Yeah.
So it's like build it up slowly. If I put people on for like 6 rounds, I think a lot of the local players would just be like, I cannot do that. I'm not like equipped to deal with 6 rounds.
Yeah. So where can people get their tickets from?
Oh, if you find we're on Facebook, you can either search for Majority T3, which is me and my team, and find the links through there, or just search for the SummerSlam GT, and tickets are just through PayPal. I haven't set up any like e-commerce yet, but it's early days. I've only run 2 events so far, and this is the second, so it will get there eventually.
Yeah, definitely. But the feedback that I've had, from the first couple of events is been like particularly positive, which is great to hear as well. Sometimes it is a bit of a rocky road to get to a place where you're really happy with your event. But all the feedback that I've had from friends that have been to the came back with kind of positive comments. So if you're kind of on the fence and you want to kind of go to another what should be a bigger, don't get, but because I think it's definitely going to be a great event. It is such a long way away. It is proving challenging.
Yeah, I know, mate. It's been hard to get a lot of players who are really want to come, but it's just like, mate, it's like an 8-hour drive. Mate, it's like a flight.
Yeah. I mean, I think what I must do next time when you do the next one, if I can't get up to this one, is I'll get on it early enough and get a flight, because it's actually cheaper, and that's what you tend to find. I'm finding that quite a lot. I mean, I go to events in Scotland, and it's much cheaper to try and drive, because you get those flights early enough, then it's actually not a problem. What's accommodation like around there?
Oh, fantastic. So you're about 15 minutes from the city centre. We're running out of like an empty office space. Yeah. So, it's fully air conditioned, big bay windows on the side, so it's plenty of light and stuff like that. So accommodation, I think there's 5 hotels within 10 minutes that are quite cheap because they're out in the sticks. So it's a bit of country bumpkin territory where I live. And then in Newcastle, spoiled for choice there, really. I will say the ones in Newcastle will fill up, because they always do, because it's a bit of a party city. But anywhere else around the local area would be quite cheap and nice and easy, definitely. And if you ever come up for any, you're welcome to my spare room as well, mate.
Also, well, you're making it more tempting. How far away from Newcastle is it?
Like I said, 15 minutes drive, so you're probably looking at about 6 miles or something like that.
Nice. So you can jump in an Uber and then get smashed in Newcastle for the evening.
Oh, definitely. Well, this is the thing. We're actually we're looking to put on a minibus if people want to do that on the night time. So instead of everybody booking a separate taxi, you'll jump in a minibus together, and then you can just go your separate ways when you get there. But it means I can probably get an Uber from there for 8 people, and it'll be like £2 a person, £1 possibly. It's super cheap, mate.
Definitely, you're selling it, mate. You're selling it.
That's what I'm here for.
Night out in Newcastle. I'm not worried about. I'm playing Tyranids. I'm going to lose anyway. So
I'll just give you a Sunday opponent to buy, and they'll be more than happy, mate.
I'll make the Sunday, to be fair, but no. So this sounds absolutely awesome. So yeah, if you are, I would recommend it. All the feedback, as I said, has been fantastic. I've seen a lot of the pictures of the work in progress stuff, and I think that it's one to watch. If you can't make it for this one, I get that August is coming up quick. So look out for the next one that the team put up, because I know this is just kind of the start of what your plans going forward, Ricky. Yeah,
you're right, mate. We're hoping to do the Northeast Open 2020, and we'll be going for a major again with that one, because that was like my flagship. Yeah. But, RTT 3 rounds and was sold out 46 tickets.
Nice. So that is not too shabby.
No, it was fantastic. A lot of local lads pitched in, but. And I mean, the prizes were excellent, and it was fantastic day. You know, you live and die by your reputation in this game. You know, so
no, definitely.
I would say we'll always try to do
Darren,
the best we can.
Yeah.
Hi, Darren.
Lingering in the background. Has your game finished, Darren? Has your game finished? That's good. Very good. Very good. Cool. Yep.
To me,
Yeah.
that's probably one of my team members absolutely trolling us, like, I would imagine. Yeah, so it was I played an RTT and it was I think it was 1,000 points, so like pretty small and stuff like that, and just like play what you can. Or was it the champs? Well done. Let's have a think. No, sorry, it was the champs. So it was 1750, and the guy had the three doom sides. You know, the croissants, or the doom sides, or the doomsday arcs. I forget which.
Doom scythes.
Yes. I think I messaged you about this, John. Actually,
yes, you did,
so,
with the mortal wound stratagem. Yeah.
So I was fully conversant with it, fully expecting it. The guy jams them in my face, and I was like, "Here comes the mortal wound strat. He's kind of like pop a couple of plague bearers. He might take a couple of wounds off a demon prince. Nah, killed 2 demon princes, killed Aramin, 5 plague bearers apiece, and just rinsed his first turn. That's me." I looked up and I was just like, that's pretty much my army completely done for that, mate. And he was like, you know what? The worst thing was to rub salt and wounds. He said, that never normally works. I was like, oh, cheers, mate. Nice one.
Yeah. No, that's pretty brutal. So the last thing that I wanted to kind of cover is, and this is, because we haven't really kind of, I suppose, gone public about this as such. So for anyone that were unaware, so very recently the ITC, the Frontline Gaming guys that run the ITC, reached out to the community to look for some people to support the growth of the ITC, particularly in their home countries, because the scene's blowing up, it's going mental, and it's pretty hard to track that, and the guys are working overtime to try and make that work. So thankfully, a lot of people applied for it, myself and Ricky being 2 of the people that did, and we got selected as the first 2 for the UK for a rep. So we've been joking about it in the pre-show that gives us ultimate power over every event in the UK. We're going with that, Ricky, right?
Oh, for sure, mate. Yeah, we're anything ITC. It's me and you. Any decisions that need made, we're there. That's it.
If we don't like it, we're just shutting it down.
Yeah, definitely.
Shutting it down.
So no Necron flyers anymore in ITC. That's cancelled.
Can we cancel Elder flyers as well?
Yeah, we'll do that as well.
Done.
I tell you what, let's just cancel Elder full stop, yeah?
Yeah, done. No.
Anything with the Elder keyword in it, it's not allowed.
Yeah. But I suppose, and again, this is kind of, we haven't, and we will, the great thing is that because we're really split as far as location-wise, Ricky's going to look after the north of the country, and I'm going to look after the south, as we kind of get clear with exactly where the workload is, we'll kind of tailor that and change it as we need to, but that's kind of where we've kind of started off with the divide. But what we're both really kind of keen to do is to support the growth of the UK tournament scene. So if you're listening to this and you want any support with, kind of organising, advice, particularly promoting from our own point of view over here on Twisted Dice, we're more than happy to help and support. So, do reach out to myself or Ricky and we'll see what we can do as far as helping you guys out. Because it's great for the tournament scene, as TOs and as players. We just want the scene to get bigger and better. So,
John, I'll definitely mirror that sentiment, and it's the same deal if you're starting like an RTT somewhere and you're worried you haven't got a gaming club. If you need help, reach out to me, and I'll definitely be able to lend you terrain if you can source the mats, because I've got like garages full of terrain all around Newcastle. So yeah, like I say, if you're concerned about it and you think that's the thing that's going to stop you from organising an event, just give us a shout and we'll try and work something out as far as transport, and you're more than welcome to use as much as you want of my stuff.
That's absolutely awesome. That is awesome. So yeah, I mean, if it's advice, whatever you need, just that's kind of what we really want to do to kind of support. So yes, we'll do the kind of the nuts and bolts behind the scene, which is the boring admin side of things, which is obviously what we've got to do. But on top of that, I think both of us want to see the growth of the tournament scene in the UK. So if there's anything you're unsure of, whatever it is, then do reach out. And if we don't know, the great thing is we're in touch with a lot of other TOs that will know. So
that's it.
Ricky the other week was helping going at Element Games at one of the bigger grand tournaments, if you like. I'm pretty good friends with Zach, so if we can't find the answer, then it's probably not there. So definitely reach out to us, and we'll support where we can. But no.
And that's another thing. When you mentioned the judging, if you literally haven't got any friends who are willing to do it, you can always reach out to like the TO community, and there'll be somebody who will want to come down, get his free lunch and a couple of beers from you, and just hang out and help out during the day. Like, it's a really, really tight community and really nice.
Yeah, absolutely. So Darren, you're coming in last minute. Is there anything you want to share with the guys over on either the podcast or the guys we've got in live before we kind of take some questions and round off the show for this evening?
All I can say, and I've been saying it for a while, contrast rocks.
Oh, here we go again.
Well, Darren, we've already flogged that horse, mate.
This is going to make great radio, but as you can see, I'm doing the contrast workout here, working out the biceps, going in for the curls. These are the puppies. They are the golden egg of painting. I'm absolutely in love with them. So all the haters out there, you keep hating. I absolutely love these. Absolutely been smashing it with the Horde painting so far, and it's just taken. And do you know what I love about it? It's with painting, people don't like to get out of their habits. Yeah. So with contrast, it is a case of you're learning a new trick, a new trade. And I love that. I love taking on new projects, something different, learning a new trick, new trade. And this is one of those things. But this is definitely the thing. So again, this makes great radio, but
There nobody wants to see you kissing anything, my friends. Nobody wants to see that. But yeah, I was promoting both your two tutorial videos. They're very useful. So that you can catch them on our Facebook pages and stuff, and you'll be able to see the links there. But if you haven't already, they're over currently on a kind of one of our sister channels, which, as I said earlier in the show, is Twisted Elite. So if you search for that, you can see the couple of tutorials there. They're really good tutorials, show how easy it is. And you can get your stuff done nice and quick. Any questions, Darren, in the chat? Have you seen that you're here and you're normally my admin man for questions?
That's it. So Dark Artisan is saying that must mean you have to attend his event by default now.
There you go. Done.
There we go.
Jonesy classes you as Ricci as King of the North.
Oh, that's it.
So, if that makes you Jon Snow, what does that make John?
Does that make me the handicap guy on the guy that can't see and can't hear?
Well, he's kind of a bit small now as well, isn't he? No, I was thinking of the what's the one everyone loved, the horrible little brat kid, King Joffrey. That's it.
He's pretty dead.
So you got Jon Snow and King Joffrey down in the south.
Yeah.
No, better still, John. Better still.
The deal there, didn't I?
You can be the hand. You could be Tyrion Lannister.
Enough of the school jokes.
It's John. The worst thing is John's actually.
So we've got Tyrion. So if you do meet John, if you do meet Ace, Ace has now changed his name. He is now a Lannister, Tywin Lannister, and you've got to greet him on those terms. You've got to come up to him and say, "Sir Lannister, Tywin Lannister, how can I help you?" That has got to be the new thing. So when you see Ace, it's no longer Ace, it is Tywin Lannister. That is how it's going to be from now on. That's how you've got to greet him as well. Shake his hand, give him a little courtesy.
I'm sorry to
give him a set of yellow pages so he can stand on, so he can get up to your height, and you'll be fine.
Right, have you finished? Quite finished, Darren.
Not even started. 20 minutes. Let's see. So Dark Artisan's got 20 mins south of Ricci. It sold out before Xmas. Two of them just replying. And then Dark Artisan's put, it's more narrative than competitive. Yeah, fair enough. But I think that is all really the questions in there.
No, it's great. It's great. Yeah, I mean, I know Harry's doing his bit to try and promote the kind of narrative scene and doing some work there. So it's great. You know, good luck to you, Harry. I know you're doing some great stuff there. So definitely, keep up the good work. You know.
Yeah, it's very similar to the Gibraltar style. So you'll see a lot of like fantastic painted armies and a lot of like very good missions based on that. You know. So it's sort of like a bit of a retreat. I think it'll be absolutely fantastic. Like, and like I say, he sold out within like 2 weeks, which was absolutely bang on. Like, so
yeah, too right. And I know he's worked really hard to kind of get that in place. So you know,
definitely.
So hats off to you, Harry, and you know, good luck to it. Hope it's amazing, and hopefully in the future we'll get to go to one of them. At the moment, it's a problem, but it's a good problem to have. Is the fact that the tournament scene is so crazy right now, like trying to schedule everything amongst jobs, families and everything else, you know, is hard enough as it is, but we've got now a luxury or a richness of events everywhere. So yeah, we're really lucky. So long may that continue. But anyway, guys, you know, thank you very much for tuning in and listening. Again, I want to a massive thank you to Ricky for taking time out to talk to us this evening. Thank you very much, my friend.
Not a problem. That was an absolute pleasure, mate. Thanks for having us.
Good stuff, and you're welcome back anytime. Thank you, Darren, for popping in. Nice of you just to come by and say hello, Darren.
Well, it wouldn't be a Wednesday night without my ugly mug on the screen, right?
And this is definitely the second bit's 100% accurate.
See, a lot of people have got their kids to sleep now because of my dull tones.
This is it. So before we go, just one last little promote and plug. We will have our next battle report that will drop this Friday. It is an awesome game between me and Darren. It is a grudge match. It's the Tyranids versus the Gene Stealer Cult. It's a Patreon requested battle report, so don't miss that. That's coming Friday. If you've missed any of this, you'll be able to catch this later on in the week. And if you enjoyed the show, please do give us a 5-star review on iTunes or wherever you consume this content. Subscribe, like, do all that good stuff. And we'll look forward to hopefully seeing you again next Wednesday for the next live show. Thanks very much for watching, guys. See you later. Bye for now.